All right. Good morning and welcome everyone to SC Days Protective Services in Government, hosted by SC Future Makers and powered by Tallow. My name is Paige and I'm your host for today's event. I have the pleasure of working at Tallow as our workforce account manager, and today we'll be leading us through an exciting and informative sessions from our hosts. We appreciate the educators and students joining in the classroom statewide to learn about career opportunities in South Carolina. We're going to be kicking things off in a few minutes. I'd like to take a moment to drop some webinar knowledge since this may be the first for some of you. One thing of note is that you won't have your audio or video on for the entirety of the event. So if you wave or say something and we don't wave back, it's just because we can't hear you, but we're super excited that you're here this morning. Every session will end with a live Q&A from the hosts or panelists. So we ask that you put in any questions you have throughout the presentations in the Q&A feature, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. Before I get started, I wanted to extend a special thank you to the South Carolina Department of Commerce and the Council on Competitiveness, as well as SC Future Makers, for making today's event possible. All right, so we are going to jump in and show a couple quick videos about Tallow before we take a quick break and get started at 9:15 with our first session, which is with the South Carolina Department of Commerce.
I want to be a biomedical engineer.
I want to be a lead engineer in the aerospace defense industry.
And that's why I use Tallow.
On Tallow, I can find internships,
Scholarships, the college of my dreams,
the company I've always wanted to work for.
On Tallow, I found confidence,
direction, and opportunity.
On Tallow, I found the path to my dreams.
My name is Pierre LeBroach. I'm a freshman at Stanford University. I plan to major in computer science and mechanical engineering and aspire to be a robotics engineer once I graduate.
Hi, my name is Ayush Saha. I'm currently at age 18 studying computer engineering in UC Davis, and my future goal is to become a computational neuroscientist.
My name is Leah, and I'm currently a freshman here at Williams College. While I was a senior in high school, I would regularly go on Tallow to find scholarships, and I actually got a couple of them.
Tallow also has a nice feature of allowing you to connect really nicely with scholarships and colleges that are interested in you, or allow you to reach out to them. Through messages, these schools and scholarships can directly contact you, and you'd get a notification about it through email, and you'd be able to apply to them and respond back to them. I chose to use Tallow because of the format of the Tallow website. It had a profile that you can create that was able to house and serve as a location for all your accomplishments, activities, and honors in one location, which allowed you to seamlessly transfer it over to a resume. And these resumes that I was able to use because of Tallow was used heavily in a lot of scholarships and colleges I applied to, one of them being the Gates Scholarship. The resume I created from Tallow also allowed me to have talking points that I used to jump off of during these interviews.
So I found this event in Tallow called the STEM Signing Day, and I applied for it, and I was accepted as an honoree. That event was affiliated with Boeing. Soon afterward, I was accepted into the Boeing mentorship program for undergraduate freshmen. I had the chance to connect with dozens of software engineers from Boeing and learn about technical skills and about real-world practical projects being done by Boeing. I was also awarded a scholarship for my efforts connecting with the Boeing engineers.
I initially started using Tallow as a method to find scholarships for college, but once I got into college and didn't really need it for scholarships anymore, it continued to prove incredibly useful. Now I've actually secured an internship because of information that I found on Tallow.
Tallow also allowed me to gain more confidence in my writing skills that I previously lacked right before I began university through a challenge called the Spotlight Challenge that had me create an article for the Tallow community Through this challenge, I was able to practice my writing skills and become more at ease at sharing my writing with other people.
Tallow has made me confident in my career by showing me that corporate world dynamics and large companies are not just a faraway dream.
Once I got into college, I was able to actually work in New York City for a nonprofit because of an internship that I found on Tallow, and I continued to look at Tallow regularly, and I ended up securing another internship doing energy work for a pretty large energy company out here on the East Coast, which is going to be a really, really interesting introduction into a field of work that I really am interested in. So I've really used Tallow a lot, and it's been incredibly helpful in everything from applying to college, finding scholarships, finding internships, and other job opportunities. So thanks, Tallow.
All right, good morning, everyone. We are going to be starting in just a moment with our first session, Lori Adler. So we will be right back and starting with Lori. All right, Lori, do we have you on today?
You have me on. I couldn't get onto the Zoom link, but I'm here.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for jumping on today and joining us. Lori is from the South Carolina Department of Commerce and is going to be talking a little bit today about the South Carolina Department of Commerce and herself. Thanks so much for joining, Lori.
Well, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
All right. And Lori, would you like us to share your slide deck?
Yes, please, if
Okay.
you don't mind.
Sure. All right. Lori, I will let you take it away. We are on the intro slide if you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, excellent. Good morning, everyone. As Paige said, my name is Lori Adler. I'm the Human Resource Director for the South Carolina Department of Commerce. I've worked in human resources for over 30 years. I began my career in the business working world, and I have worked for 2 different Fortune 500 companies prior to coming to state government. I've worked in local county government as well as state government in the past 20 years. You may not have government on the top of your list as a place to work, but you may not know all of the interesting and exciting aspects of the work being accomplished in the state of South Carolina. Next slide.
Yep, we are on the next slide. Thanks, Lori.
This is a picture of the state of South Carolina. The Department of Commerce supports foreign direct businesses and industry across the state. State agencies do, as a whole, support the mission and functions of government. The particular about the South Carolina Department of Commerce is that we support business and industry in the state, bringing new business to the state and assisting existing businesses grow and expand their business. Businesses that you may recognize, such as BMW, Samsung, Volvo, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Sunoco, Michelin, and our newest to our group is Scout Motors. That has been in the news, and commerce has been in the news recently. Within the last 6 months, we have announced more than $15 billion that will be invested in our state from businesses. So, what does that mean? I mean, it means opportunities for growth within communities. It means added jobs. It means tax dollars to support the state. Our employees travel within the state, across the United States, as well as internationally. And in fact, our agency has offices in Germany, India, Japan, and Taiwan. Next slide.
Yep, we're on the next slide.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the state agencies, and just so that you can get a good idea of how these agencies work, how they touch all of our citizens. So, for instance, the Department of Agriculture, their mission and vision is to be supporting and protects the agricultural industry. But you may know them because they manage the South Carolina Farmers Market. The Attorney General's Office, they are the chief prosecutor of and legal officer. The Attorney General's Office just recently prosecuted the Alec Murdaugh case. The Commission of the Blind provides vocational rehabilitation and independent living services for blind citizens. The State Climatology Office, so this deals with our climate and resources and data in regards to that, which helps state agencies. It helps through education, through schools and colleges and universities. Also research institutes, and it's also available for private citizens. The Department of Consumer Affairs, you can file complaints through the Consumer Affairs. You can also learn about the Lemon Law, which is automobiles, as well as auto insurance or credit information. So it's a service for all citizens. The Criminal Justice Academy provides basic training for law enforcement, detention officers, and telecommunication officers. The training is provided for all law enforcement that is across this whole state. So that would be anything from your cities and towns to counties to state law enforcement agencies. The Department of Disabilities and Special Needs, they plan, develop, and oversee the funds and services for South Carolinians that have severe long-term disabilities, intellectual disabilities such as autism, traumatic brain and spinal cord injuries. So they are providing some of those life services for them to be able to function. The Department of Health and Environmental Control protects the health, coastal resources, the state's land, air, water quality, and is authorized under multiple state and federal laws. They are the agency that led the communication and data for everything that we went through during COVID. They also gave guidance in regards to that. This agency, it's such a broad spectrum, but they issue birth certificates. If there is a case of rabies, that might be an animal rabies, they are the ones who investigate. They have food safety inspectors that go into the restaurants and give restaurant ratings that you see on the door when you enter, the A, B, C, D, or F rating, as well as on the environmental side, they have inspectors that go to gas stations, inspect the tanks to ensure there's not leakage within those tanks. educational television, or you may know it as ETV. So the state has their own TV station. The programming, the services, the education for children, citizens, in order to celebrate our culture and share the thrill of discovery and enjoyment of learning. The Department of Education, who oversee the public education for the state. They maintain teacher certification and also deal with adult education. The Department of Natural Resources, they're an advocate and a steward for South Carolina's natural resources. You could obtain your hunting or fishing license there, as well as they have biologists who maintain the coast and the wildlife for the state. The Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism, they help foster and promote the state's emerging tourism industry, protects and promotes state parks. It helps communities plan and develop recreational opportunities for residents. This is the agency that, if they manage Dreer State Park, which is very close to here, you can go camping, and recreation is there at the park. As a tourist, they try to track tourism to cities such as Charleston. So persons that come here to visit, those tourists bring in dollars to our state, which is beneficial to everyone. Rural Infrastructure Authority, they provide water, sewer, and related infrastructure facilities necessary for economic development, environmental protection, and public health. So you may have heard from other states that they have problems, such as Michigan, that they cannot drink their drinking water. Well, this agency manages those federal and state funds through grants to either establish or renovate water and sewer systems in order for South Carolinians to have safe drinking water. The Department of Administration and Surplus Property, the purpose of this small segment of this office within this agency is to dispose of surplus properties, anything that you can think of that could be within an office or any type of equipment for state and federal government. However, they do have like a secondhand store, which anyone can go in, state employees or citizens, that you can buy computers and furniture, even purchase an automobile. The Department of Transportation, they're the ones that maintain the construction, roads, and maintenance for highways, interstates, bridges. Not to mention, when we have a snowstorm, the Department of Transportation is the ones who are out there plowing the roads. So as you can see, there is so many agencies and have so many different responsibilities. Now I'm going to jump into the next slide and talk more about careers within state government.
We're good to go.
You may not know this, but we practically have jobs from A to Z. Anything from attorneys, mail carriers, architects, engineers, computer technicians, systems programmers, inside and outside sales, accounting, finance, archaeologists, museum curators, human resources, training, TV broadcast production managers, economists, librarians, nurses, doctors, pharmacists, dietitians, insurance analysts, physical therapists, dental hygienists, chemists, biologists, marketing and communication professionals, chaplains, statisticians, farm foremans, pilots, watercraft captains, geologists, project managers, veterinarians, digital and visual media designers, teachers, interpreters, if you could switch to the next slide.
And we're good to go.
So as you can see, state government hires positions that are very vast and vary. I mean, we are looking for people with all types of backgrounds, and we offer a work-life balance. We offer generous time off between the vacation and the number of holidays. We have 15 vacation days that you start with state government, as well as our holidays, which is 13 holidays. We have lots of career development opportunities. So as you can see from when I had discussed the state agencies that we have and the mission and vision that is within them. However, there are a lot of positions that are support positions that can really afford somebody an opportunity to be able to career path and to have that upward career mobility if you so choose so. Each state agency has attorneys. Each state agency has accounting and finance, human resources personnel. So there's some agencies that are more specific within that career path, but there are a lot of positions that do offer those positions in multiple agencies where you can move from agency to agency. And the time that you have accrued at one agency can be transferred to another. So it's not like you are moving from company to company in the private sector, because you would be really ending your employment and starting your employment. But with state government, you're moving, and that time that you have already spent follows you. So what that means for you on a personal basis is that all of your benefits will follow you, from retirement to insurance to time away, that vacation time, and so forth. So those are the very big benefits of moving within state government. A career in state government is a career that matters. We're not after what makes profits, but we make a difference in the lives of citizens in South Carolina. You will receive the feeling that you are serving a purpose and it's not just a job.
Yes.
What I would suggest is that don't be afraid to ask people what they do, who they work for, and what they like about their job. Recently, I had an opportunity to speak with an intern that was interested in our agency. And the person went to school. They graduated with an undergrad degree in political science, but they really weren't sure about what their career path was. And through their conversation, we were able to determine what is the next path for them by determining what that person's true interests were. And by knowing that, it was able to really solidify what path the person would like to go down to, which was interesting. You know, that small conversation of time to really help push somebody forward into what type of career they may be interested in. If you could switch to the next slide.
And we're on the question slide now.
Thank you so much, Lori. And I think, we have one question today, which is, what is your favorite part about working for the Department of Commerce?
I would have to say the excitement that comes with the new companies. Well, there's probably more than one thing. Is the new companies that come here that we're really continuing to move business forward, such as there are a number of businesses within the state that are now looking at artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, and how do we support those electric vehicles. So really being in tune with how business is changing some of their models and what do we do to support them. One of the other things is always a neat experience to have within the agency is that Commerce is able to assist businesses that may not be doing well. And how do we supply them with the tools and resources to make them a profitable and sustainable business?
Yeah, well, I mean, and I understand why it was hard to just pick one because you highlighted so many great opportunities in the state working in with these programs. And like you said, when you're working for the government, you're not only working for yourself, but you're working for your state, which I think is amazing. So we are just at time to end our session today. So I wanted to thank you, Lori, and see if you wanted to say one last thing before we go on break.
I encourage students to continue to reach out and, research their careers and figure out a path to go down, but don't always think that that's the only path to go down. As you gain experience, you may fall into a different career path.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lori, for joining us today. And we are going to go on a quick break and we'll be back with our next session in just a few minutes with Anna Edwards and she is going to be joining us in 2 minutes. So thank you, everyone. And thank you so much, Lori, for joining us this morning. It was a great session. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we're going to jump into our next session with the University of South Carolina. We have Anna Edwards joining us today, who is the Associate VP for Student Life. Good morning, Anna. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for jumping on this morning. I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Awesome. Let me just share my slides here. Can you see everything?
Yep, looks great.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Paige and team, for inviting me to talk about working at USC. I'm excited as you all explore what public service looks like in the state of South Carolina to think about working at USC. I know many of you are maybe familiar with the university from different angles, but I hope I'll be able to share some new ways for you to think about how you could consider a career at the University of South Carolina. Get everything going here. Awesome. So excuse all of the words on the screen, but I wanted to just make sure you're aware of who we are at the University of South Carolina. Maybe you have attended athletic events, or maybe an arts event, or maybe you've come to campus for a tour, or you've come to the Horseshoe for a photo op with your friends. The University of South Carolina's mission is really to educate the state's citizens through teaching, research, creative activity, and community engagement. And we do this through a lot of different ways. You know, traditionally people think about working at USC from a classroom perspective. But there are thousands of people that work on this campus and within the USC system that really make our mission possible across the state. USC is considered a top employer according to Forbes magazine, and that is the USC system in general, which really covers about 52,000 students across the 8 campuses all over the state of South Carolina. So as I focus primarily on maybe roles in Columbia or my experience in Columbia, you can really translate all of this to many of our campuses, or all of our campuses across the state of South Carolina. The USC campus has about 36,000 students on our campus, which are a lot of people, and it takes a lot of faculty, staff, and other employees at the university to make everything happen, to keep the grounds manicured and looking beautiful, to keep the dining halls full, to keep the health centers taking care of our students, and of course, keeping the classrooms active and engaging for all students. And just for you all to know, we are one of the top 5 employers within the city of Columbia primarily, with just over 5,000 employees. When you look at the people that we employ across the 8 campuses, it's almost 15,000 people. So there are lots of opportunities for you to consider a career in education and let that look a little different. I'll talk a little bit about how that can happen. One of the best things that I think about working at USC is you get to work with college students. So that is a unique population that we have. Again, regardless of what type of job you're in, you work with college students and you're really delivering on the mission of education here. And so I've highlighted for you all the types of jobs that we have at USC. Some of you might be considering maybe a role in construction, or you want to be an architect, or you want to be an engineer. Well, there are roles here at the University of South Carolina where you can do that skill, you can do that trade and benefit one of our system campuses, or you can just stay here in Columbia. We obviously are a multi-billion-dollar operation when you look at our system here at the university. And so if you are interested in a career in finance or business or HR, it takes a lot of people to manage budget, to account for all the procurement and purchasing and all of the things that happen here on a daily basis. There are thousands of people who work to make sure all of that is happening within somewhat of a cohesive system. I mentioned the dining hall and IT infrastructure. With this many people on campus, Wi-Fi is really important. We know that that's really important for our students and their ability to engage on campus, but also to participate in classroom activity, their coursework, and also just in what being a student here at South Carolina is all about. So all of those people really help deliver on our mission here at USC. Trades and maintenance, custodial. We have research positions that are time limited and associated with grants that are received by faculty members or graduate students here at the University of South Carolina. So I really want to highlight to you on this slide the vast diversity of roles and experiences here at USC, and really depending on what you want to do, how you want to serve the state of South Carolina, you can do that at USC. I was a political science major and had an opportunity to come here for graduate school. And I think that leads to kind of the multiple pathways that, there are many people on this campus who might not have a college degree at all. There are folks who have some type of master's degree, bachelor's degree, which is just a 4-year college degree, an associate's degree, which might be a degree from a technical college within our system. And then faculty members typically have a terminal degree, which is like a PhD, Juris Doctor, or which is a law degree, or a medical degree, because that's usually required to teach at the college level. And specifically, if you get into those higher level courses. I did note on here that sometimes a degree or advanced education does equate to higher pay. So as you think about what you want to do and how you want to grow in whatever field you choose, and I know you all are thinking a lot about that at this point, you want to think about what does education play in my ability to advance and to make more money and have more experience, or maybe to lead in different ways. One of the things that is unique to our campus and really to our state is our commitment to veterans. So we employ, and really if there is a veteran in a pool for a job, we have a responsibility to consider that veteran and that employee above all else. And so how we help continue to support and commit to veteran service at the University of South Carolina, which we are actually one of the top employers of veterans really across the country. And so that's something for you all to consider, because some of you might decide to go into the military right after high school, but know that you can come back to USC and there'll always be a place for you. So why work at USC? You all are talking a lot today about public service and talking about what it means to work within the state of South Carolina and to be a public servant. And that means that you work every day to serve the greater good. You serve the citizens of the city, the state, and you're hearing from a lot of folks who do that. USC is considered a state agency. And so I see from the list of folks that you all will hear from today, you're hearing from a lot of state agencies. And so there are benefits to working at a state agency. There's a level of stability that comes because you're part of this larger entity that is representative of all the departments across the state of South Carolina. There's retirement, there's health and vision benefits that you have through insurance. There's opportunities for growth that you have to do and do different things to learn new skills and to continue your professional growth along your way. We also have a great leave and holiday program here. We still recognize the time off between the December Christmas holiday and right after New Year's. And so the university shuts down, and that's really the only time throughout the year that the entire university shuts down. And so we think that is a huge benefit to working here at USC. Educational benefits. I mentioned earlier that you don't have to have a degree to work in some of the roles. There are multiple pathways to jobs here at USC. But we do offer educational benefits for our faculty and staff. So if families or if employees do want to seek other employment, or they want to grow a skill, or they want to maybe have a different job, we provide educational benefits to our employees and to their children. So there's some dependent benefits. And then you have access to all of the great things about a college campus. There are athletic events, there are arts events, there are theater events. There's a wellness center on campus that we give access to for our faculty staff. and other employees. We've embraced the flexibility. We know that you all, when you get into the workforce, you are going to be looking for a more flexible work environment. The university has not always been considered a really flexible work environment. But what we learned during COVID is we can do a lot of things from a lot of different places within our state. And so there is flexibility with how you do your work and where you do your work. And that just continues to allow us to evolve positions and experiences and really meet employees where they are. I consider one of the benefits of USC is being part of an innovative and creative team. I get the opportunity every day to work with people who deliver a student experience. So doing what we can do to make the student experience the best it can be. And that is, I think a plus for working at USC. It's a very exciting environment. And then obviously, who doesn't want to work with college students? They keep us young, they keep us energized, but they also keep us on the cutting edge of what's next. So here's what you need to do. A couple of my maybe suggestions to you on how to prepare now for a career at USC. One of the things that I would suggest is for you to look through our job page. There are hundreds of jobs that are available now. One of the things that is unique to I think our conversation today is you don't have to, we employ several thousand students each year to do much of what needs to happen here at the university on a daily basis. And so you might come here as a student. I encourage you to take advantage of part-time job opportunities that we have on campus where you can get introduced to what it means to be a USC employee. And then graduate students, we hire those students who are here for maybe a master's or a PhD program. And so that allows us to continue building the pipeline of younger employees and more innovative and creative employees who are coming. So many opportunities. You don't have to just have a 4-year degree, but there's lots of opportunities for you here. One of the things that I think is really important as you're considering career, you're considering, how you want to spend your work life, because you'll work for many years in your life. Most of us get the opportunity to do that. Think about what you consider to be your personal values and your work values, and make sure you're aligning the places that you're seeking employment, the types of jobs you're doing, making sure those align with those values, because you're going to spend a lot of your time at work. And so make sure that you're going to do those things that align with your values and that really matter to you. And for me, working with college students it really matters to me, and helping educate and prepare the next generation for what life looks like beyond Columbia, South Carolina. And so that is, I have to check that every now and then, but it's also good to remember why you do the work you do and why it matters. And then the last thing I'll share is just networking and job shadowing. I heard the prior speaker talk a little bit about kind of exploring what's out there and seeking opportunities and asking questions. I know that all of you probably have opportunities to job shadow in your high school. Take advantage of that. We would love to host you here at USC if you would be interested in job shadowing or kind of understanding what it is to work at a place like this, and maybe see what happens behind the scenes, because so much of what we do is delivering on the experience and making sure things are set for students and their families to have a really amazing experience here. And then networking, it's all about networking, who you know and how do you promote yourself and the experiences you have. And so, hopefully you all are learning good networking skills. You're learning what it takes to talk about what matters to you, what you want to get out of your career, and then take advantage of job shadowing, internships, co-ops. All of those experiences will help give you some good hands-on experience and prepare you for what's ahead. And I think that kind of wraps up my slides. I've provided my email address if anybody has any questions, and I'm happy to answer those today or follow up with anybody who might need it. Turn it over to you, Paige.
Yeah, we have some questions that came in. One you already answered, I think, on that last slide. So they asked what we could do, what could high school students do now to prepare? So next question that's come in, though, is a little bit of a personal one. How long have you worked at USC and how did you get into your career?
That's a great question. I'll tell you a little secret. I was a Clemson grad. We accept all, and, you can wear garnet and black even after a Clemson degree, but I've been here. I just finished my 18th academic year here at USC, and I was a political science communications major at Clemson, and decided that I would like working with college students. I had an experience where I traveled to a lot of different college campuses after I finished at Clemson. And I had somebody who kind of guided me down this path for student affairs, where you have the opportunity to really design and execute a student experience. And so it's been an awesome experience. I never thought I would stay here, but I think to the point about growth opportunities, there are opportunities that you have. And then once you kind of look at other things that are out there, you realize how great you have it where you are, and you keep staying to see what's happening next. So that's a little about my personal journey.
Yeah, well, obviously, if you've been there that long, it seems like it's a good fit. And I think that's really important for students to look not only for something they're interested in, but something that's a good fit for them, where they can be happy in the long run. So with that, what is your favorite part about working at USC?
Probably my favorite part is there's not one day that's just like the next. It's to see a new class, and this is commencement week, so we're celebrating those who are graduating from USC and going on to do whatever's next on their journey, and we're preparing for a new group to come in. And so that constant flow of preparing and sending out, and then bringing in and educating and getting students ready for their career path is it kind of keeps everything exciting, and the cycle moving. Keep us entertained.
Great. Next question that came in asks, if I'm interested in a program, even as a high school student, is there a way I could meet with an advisor of that program?
Absolutely. I would recommend you come and do a campus tour. And on that tour, when you're signing up for that, you can designate that you want to meet with somebody for a particular program. If you are doing that and you don't see the program you're interested in on that drop-down menu, reach out to me. My email address is on the last slide, and I would be happy to help you get that figured out. But most colleges or most career paths should be, or programs should be listed on that drop-down menu. So check it out. And if you don't find what you need, reach out, or have your teacher or guidance counselor reach out, and we'll get it set up for you.
Great. Thank you. And it looks like last question, just to wrap things off, is there any last minute tips that you would like to give to students as they are looking to network and job shadow, like you said, for them as they're kind of going out and exploring these opportunities? Is there any tips or tricks that you have for them, or even just advice on how they should, communicate as their first time kind of stepping out in that professional realm? Excuse me.
Yes. And I know it's hard to do that. I have a high schooler myself, and forced her a little bit to do a little bit of job shadowing last year. My suggestion would be, just focus on something that you want to learn a little bit more about. And then how do you go to somebody who does that and ask them, hey, can I follow you around? Can I work with you for a day? You will not believe how many people will say, I would be honored for you to work alongside of me for the day. So don't be hesitant in communicating and asking someone, hey, I'm interested in what you do. Could I come alongside with you one day? I think, being brave and going out and asking that question and kind of putting yourself out of your comfort zone shows a lot of initiative of high school students and really sets you apart from other students. And you never know, that person that you job shadow with might be a recommender for college, might be somebody who eventually has a job down the road who calls you back to say, hey, I remember this experience we had, or when I worked with you years ago, come work with me now. So don't miss miss those opportunities to, kind of put yourself out there. And I know it feels kind of awkward to just ask somebody to follow them around one day, but you will be surprised how many people will take you up on it and be honored that you asked.
All right. Well, that brings us right to time. So thank you so much, Anna, for joining us today. And we are going to go on a quick break, and then we'll be back right at 10:05 with our next session, which is with the South Carolina Department of Corrections. Thank you so much, Anna.